Okay, everyone, it's 11 o'clock and we're going to go ahead and start the meeting. We have no consent items. Councilmember Jurinsky, do you approve the minutes?
I do.
Okay, I do as well. We're going to move around our agenda. We're going to have our federal legislative update first. Lori?
Hi,
Lori?
good morning.
Good morning.
Hi. So I guess you
Hi.
got home safe and hopefully without incident.
Yes, without.
That's okay, good. So no storm delays, good. Good. It was great to see you all this past week. I thought we had some great meetings with the delegation and also with HUD and also with the Department of Defense. So I'm going to write up sort of the follow-up items and share them with Liz. We can collaborate and then, decide how we should follow up and also share electronic materials as well. But I think it was exciting that hopefully Secretary Turner is going to be in the area in a few months. It can come and tour the great things you're doing in the opportunity zones. As you heard, under reconciliation is moving, but not very quickly. I thought y'all did an amazing job explaining how the tax exemption, removing the tax exemption from municipal bonds would be very damaging to the city. And y'all did a great job explaining the projects that you utilize that for. Even I think Congresswoman Boebert's staff understood as well. So I think we could share that part, that fact sheet, Liz, with his staff, with him as well. I think it'll be very helpful. And as we heard from Senator Bennett, they are beginning to work on the Surface Transportation Authorization Bill. So, Liz, we can set up a separate call with your Public Works team to discuss some of the priorities and then share them with you too, Councilmember Lawson, since you're on the Transportation Committee at National League of Cities.
That would be great.
And the only grants out there right now, as we discussed, are Safe Streets and Roads for All. And this is the competitive grant program, the Department of Transportation for Vision Zero programs, but to both plan and implement. So I know your team is working on this to see they have an eligible project. So that's all I have for right now.
Madam Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
I'm sorry, what is that one grant? And is that pedestrian safety? Or what is
Yes,
that?
sir. It's called
Pedestrian
Safe Streets and Roads for All. It's a brand new grant program that was created in the bipartisan infrastructure law. But it's the very first funding program that provides, assistance to local governments and NPOs and states to carry out and plan pedestrian safety, Vision Zero, complete streets activities.
And just for this group, and for the public, we did also talk about all our CDS requests
Yes.
for our delegation, which are all public safety related. And I think we had a water on there as well. So we did present those as well. So to all of our
We
delegates.
have some meeting coming up with National Safety Transportation Board or something like that. Are you?
So the city is going to be hosting a roundtable discussion with the National Transportation Safety Bureau. I believe they're coordinating, taking lead on coordinating that roundtable event.
Are they going to be discussing rail issues?
I do not believe so. I think it's mostly related to streets and vehicular safety.
Okay, well, let me know if you need assistance with that.
And then Lori,
Perfect.
just a recommendation from me, when the DOT comes, I would like all members who did attend this trip, I would like for them to have a chance to be on that virtual and not just city staff on that one. I like everyone who went on this trip to be on the DOT meeting for that as well. And to see if they can attend.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So Turner is our HUD guy. He's going to be the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, or is?
He's been confirmed. He's in
Okay.
place.
Because me and his staff, we had invited him to come to see the Navigation Resource Center as well. So would he do, even though it won't be done by then, but it'd be great to take him over there as well, to show him that. Because he's gonna come on opportunity zones, you're saying?
And
We're gonna work to coordinate
Both.
with his staff.
And the navigation.
Yep, we're gonna work to
Yeah,
coordinate
and the
with staff on
groundbreaking.
that.
It won't be open by then, but we can still show him what we got. Right? Okay.
well, that's it for me. Do you have any questions, Councilmember Jurinsky? Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, Lori. It was good seeing you, and it was a
Good to
very
see
good
you too.
trip. And thank you for organizing it along with Liz. I think we've had a very productive meetings. So
Great. I think
we'll
you
see
can
you
relax
soon.
this weekend.
Okay,
Bye.
bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay. Hi Peggy, we're gonna go ahead with our state legislative update. We have Peggy and Cammie on. Go ahead.
Nice to see you all this
And
morning.
Chelsea.
Quick update on what's happening down at the Capitol. We've got about 33 days left of the session. We end on May 7th. So, working speedily to get through legislation that, in particular has had a fiscal note and is sitting in appropriations. That will be a big focus here in the last month. The Senate completed the long bill budget this week and has sent that over to the House. Cammie's going to talk a little bit about that, but the House will take that bill up next week. In terms of a couple of the bills that we're watching closely, good news, construction defects has made it through the House and is over in the Senate. We expect that bill will probably continue to have a couple more amendments, but really pleased with the results that it had over in the House passing. And then a little more negative news, 1147, the transparency in court systems. That bill passed this morning in the Senate on third reading. So it will head back over to the House so that the House can concur with amendments in the Senate. But we've got some big bills still out. I know we're going to talk about food trucks this morning, and that bill will probably be a big focus here in the last month of session. So with that, I'll tag it over to Cammie and she can talk a little bit more about the budget.
Hi, good morning. As Peggy said, the Senate passed the budget, which is Senate Bill 206, 728 pages, which contained the $43.9 billion budget, which included 17 billion in general funds and 14 billion in federal dollars. This year, to help balance the budget, several widespread cuts and sweeps were made. There were 61 orbital bills, and in the end, there were a few changes that were made. The JBC was dealt with as structural deficit, and as the general fund revenue reached the Tabor cap, this issue is something that's not going to go away this session.
Right.
This is going to be an ongoing issue in the years to come. So that is kind of a quick recap on the budget. I will update you on House Bill 1112, our vehicle registration bill, passed House third reading on Monday with a vote of 54-11. It has been assigned to transportation and energy in the Senate, and we are starting to work that committee. It has not been calendared yet. So those are a couple of updates on what I've been working on.
Hey,
Go ahead, Patsy. Mayor, before we
Hey.
start.
good morning. I hope everybody's doing well this morning. I am going to report on House Bill 1243, which was the bill that would prohibit peace officers from asking persons if they are aware of the reason they were being pulled over. We watched that bill, and that bill was killed in committee Wednesday night on a vote of 8-3. It was
Wow.
sponsored by AAA, or brought forward by AAA, and it was a Mandy Lindsay bill. So that one's done. And try to answer any questions.
Mayor, go ahead.
First of all, I wonder if Liz, we had a conversation with the governor. When was it? Well, recently,
So Mayor,
yesterday. Could you update them on where we were, or did you already do that?
I already updated that.
Okay, just then one other note, and that is on this, I think that the, just my 2 cents on this Tabor issue, that since I was in the legislature, back when the earth was cooling, but in the Senate with the enabling legislation for Tabor, no, I was in the House when we did the enabling legislation for Tabor. And at that time, what we should have done with the gas tax, it's called it a fee, quite frankly. There's some money that goes into extraneous things in the highway users trust fund. It's not that much. That could be pulled back. But that, should be outside for all intents and purposes, it's a fee because it's dedicated to a very specific purpose of government. And it doesn't go into the general fund today, but I believe it counts against Tabor because it's a tax, because it's simply called a tax. And so that, but hopefully they're gonna deal with that issue.
Do you have any other comments before I go to the committee?
Well, where are we at on the failure to appear? Bill, were there any amendments on that or anything? I think, Chris, you looked at the legislation, didn't you? Failure to appear.
Or there's any changes to it that I'm aware of.
What's
I
that?
don't think there's any changes that I was aware of.
Okay,
Mayor, we just gave the update to the failure to appear, didn't we?
okay.
Yeah.
No,
So
that
you
was
have-
1147. That was Muni Court's failure
Yeah.
to
Oh,
appear.
that
I
was the-
believe it's still parked on that House calendar.
Is, so it'd be interesting to see if Denver is going to testify against the bill or Colorado Springs is gonna testify against the bill.
I can't say what other cities are going to do with their strategy.
So Mayor, yeah, we want to make sure that we just keep the overview of everything because we don't know what the particular strategies are, so. Is there any other questions before we go to the committee? Yeah,
Oh,
okay. Councilmember Jurinsky.
I just one real quick, and it's not on our agenda, but I met with a woman this morning who told me that that she has a bill, it's in honor of her daughter. And it's something about, in 2020, her daughter was killed walking in a park and she was killed with a stolen gun. It was a stolen gun from a police officer and the police officer failed to report that the gun had been stolen. I was just wondering if you could find this bill for me. She said that it's something, there's going to be a punishment for not reporting your gun being stolen if it should be stolen. That's all the information I have. I know it's very vague, but if you could just see if you could find that for me and where that's at, I would just like to know.
And then Councilmember Jurinsky, what we'll do, they'll find the bill, but then when we come back to the next session, we want to put it underneath these bills,
Yeah.
the last minute bills of this, okay, we're gonna take a position, okay?
We don't necessarily need to take a position. I just told this woman that I would look into it and that I would just go to sit to support her. I'm not asking the city to get involved. I just am gonna go sit with this woman.
Wasn't it isn't there a part of a bill that deals with stolen firearms in general in terms of increasing the penalty on that? It's not specific to police officers.
Yeah, so that is the possession of weapon by previous offender. We are supporting that. I can't recall the bill number off the top of my head, but we are supporting that legislation as it was one of our priorities this year.
Is it the same? Maybe it's the same one?
We will look into it to let you know. I'm not sure if that's the same bill or if this is something different, but
Okay.
we'll look into it and get back to you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
That
'cause-
would be, Liz, that would be 1171, I believe.
For the Palpo one or for the one Councilmember Drinsky is referencing?
The Palpo.
Okay, yeah, we'll look into it and get clarification for you.
Okay, okay.
Is there any other
Happy
bills?
to.
No, that's the only one I was interested in.
Okay, and then I know that at the last meeting, Megan, and you're on here, we did take a position on have it here, House Bill 25-1206. And one of my members, can you just kind of go overview of that and just kind of in the summary that you provided us? Just in general of this bill and kind of, we already have the information on the bill that was sent out and you provided good explanation. You provided the fiscal note, but just for in general of why we're taking the position that we did on the bill. I mean, not why we're taking, but just what the bill is about.
Sure, the bill's a little confusing because it cross-references multiple other
Give a little bit of a
statutory.
highlight, yeah.
Right, statutory section. So I think essentially the bill is being sold as a cleanup bill, but really it does have some additional implications for sentencing, especially for attempted murder. And if you look at the fiscal note, it actually explains it really well in terms of what the actual impact would be in lessening people's sentences if they are convicted under that new subsection as proposed of attempted murder. It also removes a subsection of the assault, the third degree assault provision, which goes essentially to a reckless mens rea and would allow for people to have essentially only an intent-based crime versus the practical, result of their actions having the same impact as if they had intended it. So I think it's important just to sort of be discerning with that bill, and as you're looking at it, what the actual impact is for sentencing of the crime of attempted murder, as well as that removal of the provision as it relates to third degree assault.
And thank you, Megan, for that. I just wanted to make sure we had clarification. I brought it up in the late bill, not late bill, but in the state bills of the last meeting, but I think it was just good to have a clarification. And thank you for providing the summary that you did on the bill along with the fiscal note. And I know Peggy, Totsi, and Cammie, that one is that parked in appropriations? Because I know the last action was 3/19/25.
Nope,
was-
it's still parked in House Judiciary, and the
Okay.
testimony was not, that phase was not closed. I did speak to the bill sponsor, so they kept that open for if there's still a need for further testimony to be made on that bill before a vote is taken. He
Okay.
said that he is still working with the other sponsor on figuring it out, but that's not going to be calendared until at least they get through the long bill next week.
Okay, the long bill. Okay. Thank you for that clarification as well. Do you have any questions, Councilmember Jurinsky? Is there any other bills? I mean, anything else you have based on, not any other bills, but any other summaries?
No.
And Mayor, go ahead.
Senate Bill 1, where is that, right? That's an appropriations on
No, actually,
you got through the
sorry.
Senate appropriations, right?
It did, Mayor, and changes were made in the fiscal note on Senate Bill 1 was brought down to about $93,000. It's now making its way over to the House, and it has been assigned to, excuse me, State Affairs on April 14th. So we have been working with CML on how we could be of help in trying to get municipalities at least omitted from the bill. I'm not sure how that's going to go, but we have been working closely with them on this.
Okay.
And what's the title of Senate Bill 1, since we're asking for transparency and making sure everyone gets the information? What's Senate Bill 1, Cammie?
The voting rights,
Okay.
I can pull up the full title. I
No,
don't have that.
No, that's fine. I know which one, but just
Okay.
for clarification, since we're making sure, due to people who listen, making sure that we have the titles as well.
Yeah,
Sure.
it's the Colorado Voting Rights Act.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, is there anything else from you guys? And is there anything else from the committee members? Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate the updates. Okay, Liz, we're gonna go ahead and start with our positions. You'll take it away with 3A.
So we have two bills to discuss today. The first one is House Bill 25-1301, authorizing voice court reporter to give oath. So this bill modifies existing state law regarding who has the authority to administer oaths and affirmations in Colorado. So it ensures that color reporting professionals with transcriptions that they can utilize for legal proceedings in governing bodies. We are looking to support this legislation as it would allow more court personnel to administer oaths and affirmations, which would assist with making legal proceedings more efficient.
Okay, and the position on this is to support, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, Councilmember Jurinsky, do you have any questions? You support the city's position? I support as well. Okay, we'll move to 3B.
Next bill, House Bill 25-1295, food truck operations. So this bill creates reciprocal licensing and permitting for the operation of food trucks within just jurisdictions of local governments in the state. So essentially, if a local government or if a food truck has a license in one city, they can operate in all cities. In addition to that, I believe there was an amendment put on the bill where we would have to pay, or they would have to pay us only 25% of the licensure fee. We have a lot of concerns about this. We are recommending an opposed position as it unlawfully and unconstitutionally deprives the city of our home rule powers. We have our own food truck regulations that we would not be able to enforce. And we have some concerns with also the unfunded mandate part of this legislation. And then we have Trevor to answer any questions about.
Trevor, do you want to speak to any additional information on this as well?
No, that's primarily what it is, just the local control concerns, and there is a funded mandate where we are required to reprogram our system, and that would produce additional administrative overhead if we're going to charge a different fee for these food trucks and verify the ethics of the licensure. Most of the offensive zoning restrictions they had, the first version had some really bad stuff in it that overrode municipal zoning. That got removed in an amendment. What's interesting about the bill is probably one of the biggest challenges for food trucks, at least in the metro area, is that Denver has its own health license, which is not recognized by other counties in the state. You know, this one doesn't even address that. You know, it was amended recently to still have that system in it. But
If I could.
Go ahead, Mayor.
Trevor, do they, so you're saying Denver's different, but how about our health department, our county level health departments, do they have the same licensure?
yep, all the other counties in the state recognize the state health license. So it's already reciprocal.
Okay.
As far as the fire permitting, our fire department does recognize that they've had that fire permitting done, so that's already reciprocal for us. It does say, you know, even though it's reciprocal, they still have to get a local license. So it's kind of, I'm not sure exactly what this is trying to get at to fix. You know, one of the big things would be if Denver just would recognize not license, but their home rule,
Okay.
which gives the authority, you know, do whatever they want there. So.
Okay, so on this particular bill, Councilmember Jurinsky, do you support the city position of oppose this bill?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I support it as well.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so we have Kathy. You have a water update, and also you're going to talk to us about 5A on the water, wastewater infrastructure pollution prevention act. Sorry, I'm a little tired, so I apologize. Oh, go ahead.
Welcome home, everybody. So, yes, there's one item for you today, and it is the Whites Act, and so that does stand for Wastewater Infrastructure Pollution Prevention and Environmental Safety. And this bill will require do not flush labeling on the popular pre-moistened wipes. And there was a similar bill at the state level in 2023 that we supported, and approximately 17 states have done similar legislation. And so this federal legislation would just unify the effort across the nation, and it would help prevent the clogged pipes and sewage overflows. So I'm asking for a support
Okay.
position on this.
Is there any questions, Mayor? No. Okay, Councilmember Jurinsky, do you have any questions in support?
No, I mean, this is very common sense to me, my support.
I support as well.
Well, no, one quick. So, are these regulations, are they at the local level or state level? Because it just seems odd that the federal government would be engaged in.
They're at the state level, and about half the nation has regulations at the state level, but at the federal level, they're using this to unify across the nation because it is a pervasive issue across our entire country, and just so they're doing it at the federal level as well.
And is there any other updates?
That's it.
Okay, any other state last minute bills, Councilmember Jurinsky, any federal last minute bills? Okay, am I missing anything there? Okay, so we're gonna go to miscellaneous matters for consideration. This is regarding a resolution to amend the council rules regarding council member testimony. I think at the last meeting, when we had it in person, I gave some examples, and I think that there has been some inconsistencies in the testimony of city council people members, not only just this year, but in the past years I've been on council. I think this is something that I want to bring forward to just emphasize what council members can do. I'm not trying to take anyone's First Amendment rights away, but I think that there has been some confusion and inconsistencies on this. So what this does, and George, I'll let you kind of explain it because I don't want to mess it up. And I do have a question about it once you kind of go through it, but I'll let you kind of go through it so I'm not making any legal issues.
Well, as you had said at the last in-person meeting, and I think it had been brought up in study session as well. So for council members to go and testify and take a different position than what city council or what this committee is taking. So I tried to address that through a few different changes in the council rules. So I added or comments or testifies on proposed legislation. And then the council members, the rule already said the council member should be careful to emphasize the fact that the council member is expressing his or her own views and not that of the city council or the council members' constituents. So that's how I addressed what your concerns were. So I think it addresses what you had brought up, but.
And just a couple of questions I have for you, just a clarification, because again, being the Pfizer chair in general on this, if the Pfizer chair feels like a council member is not going according to the rule, because this would be, what would be some of the things that could be brought forth to the committee for purposes of letting that council, is it censure? Is it something like that? Could that be brought forth as a possibility for not following this rule?
Yes, it could.
What else could be brought done in terms
I mean,
of even prior to censure?
I mean, you can bring it up and address it without a censure as well. So it's really what you all want to do and how you want to proceed with someone that went outside of
And they
what the
continue
council.
to do this
Yes.
same situation. Okay, so it could be up to the advisor chair to recommend a what I would say,
censure
a censure or something like
Or
that.
some sort of discussion.
Okay, which would definitely have to go through the full council, but that could be recommended by the chair for
Yes.
continued behavior.
Yeah,
Okay,
but it could be recommended by any council.
by any
or
council
mayor
member.
too.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So,
Even, but with this, with the testimony, but any council member, even outside of the Pfizer committee, if they see this, they can also
yes,
do this for censure as well.
it doesn't specifically say that you have to do it.
Okay.
So,
Okay, as well, not just me, but the
Yeah.
Pfizer chair even
The
going
Pfizer
present.
chair.
Okay.
I mean, I could reword it if
Oh,
that's the way you want it, but I would think you
No,
want.
I mean, I'm just looking at it from the standpoint of the committee, by the chair and the committees in general
Yeah.
position. So, okay. But, is there any questions from you, Councilmember Jurinsky? Do you have any, changes or anything that you see? Mayor, do you have anything?
Well, George, if for punishment, if they were forced to go on the annual lobbying trip, it lives right, that'd be cruel and unusual punishment. That is cruel and unusual. Yes.
Well, from what you said at the last meeting, maybe going to the army is what you think. That would be cruel and unusual
I'm pretty
punishment.
sure that this will be up for some debate, but I guess I know this was in the original rules. Should be careful to emphasize. That's always been in the rules.
Yes, yeah, that was there before. So,
Okay. I don't have any questions. I think this is well written. I think it'll get to the point that I'm trying to get at. Again, I think it'll be up for some debate when this comes to,
Yeah.
and I have a thing to bring this to the floor, correct?
Yeah, you want to bring it straight to.
Yeah, I want to bring it straight to the floor. Yeah.
We'll do that.
So I support moving it forward. Yeah.
Okay.
So, there's nothing else for me, so I want to move this to the floor and thank you for rewriting the rule and see how this goes and see if there's any more teeth that need to be put in the years to come.
Okay.
So,
But Liz, I think that'll be the 21st is no, it won't be Monday. That's the next 2 weeks.
The
after.
21st is the next council meeting, it would be able to be brought
Okay.
per described guidelines.
okay. Eric, do you have any questions on this or anything like that? Okay, is there any other further business? Okay, so our next meeting will be April 18th at 11 a.m. and that'll be virtual. So thank you, everybody, for attending.
Just one quick.
Yes.
So on that,
On this.
yeah, is there a, it almost feels like there should be sort of, in this communication, like a verbatim thing that somebody would have to read before they testify and just stick their name. So there is absolutely no question.
Could that be part, this is a rule, but could that be part of the policy piece that could connect to this or not a rule, but would that have to be
Within the rule.
would it have to be within the rule, something like that, or would that be something that can be a procedural thing?
I think we can do it procedurally because it's already in the rule, like,
Yeah.
what you want the rules to be. And
Yeah.
we could just write some sort of script if someone.
Yeah, I just think that it should be
Ahead of a.
very
ahead of testimony.
specific, instead of saying, oh, yes, somebody could say that they did it, but,
Well, and I don't have time to listen to everybody, but I know specifics of certain
so
council
it seems like
members.
they had something that they literally had to read off.
Well, some people might not do that.
Well, but if that would
We
be.
can
the-
prepare that and have.
But could we prepare that? And then, because that might be good for our future councils as well. So maybe, but I like the rule to stay as is, and then maybe that's the
Sure.
procedural nexus to this. If that would be great.
Do you want that in the packet for?
Yes.
Okay, I'll put something
Yep.
together.
So if there's no other questions, Mayor, every time I close the meeting, you got something to say. All right. So the meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.